Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Today, I, Palak Dasani, and my co host, Dushyant Purohit, will interview few of our friends and discuss the topic Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. So, let's dive into the interviews. First up, we have Vansh Pandey, who will be sharing his experiences as Dushyant asks him a few questions.
Hey Vanch, so the question I'm gonna ask you today is, what does fear mean to you?
Fear. Fear for me, I guess, is a natural feeling that we have when we step outside our comfort zones. A feeling that protects us from stepping into the unknown. A feeling that we actually have which prevents us from doing things, a lot of things that we want to do. Example, when you want to give a speech, there's an innate feeling in you which tells you all of the bad things that could happen, such as what if I fail? What if I mess up in my speech? This, I guess, is the fear. So that's my answer.
Yeah, okay, that's the. So Vanch, the second question that I'm gonna ask you today is, what exactly do you think courage is? Is it the absence of fear, or is it the triumph over it? The triumph over fear.
Well, definitely, in my opinion, it's a triumph over fear. In my opinion, courage is that feeling that outpowers all of the anxiety, all of the fear that we face when we are about to step outside our comfort zones. It's a feeling that only comes to you when you care about something more than fear, when you care about something more than the actual fear and anxiety, when you care more about what all you can achieve rather than what all can happen wrong. It's a very strong feeling, but not everyone has it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Hmm. Yes.
So Vanch, the last question that I'm gonna ask you today is that, have you had any experience in which you think you were very courageous, or you sort of triumphed over your fear?
Uh, I'll have to think about it. Yeah, I guess I have had quite a lot of moments, but the one that stands out for me, is the one in which our teacher particularly asked us to give us a speech on a particular topic. Our PhD teacher asked us to do that, and during that, he said that anyone who wants to give the speech can come up and start with the speech, and there was no one in the class who was willing to come up there and speak. And I had this inner feeling in me, it's now or never. I can actually have, particular 17-year-old thoughts. I can actually make an impact, become a guy who is considered to be confident. And all those feelings in me overpowered the fear, and I went up and started giving the speech. Although the speech was kind of trash, but still, it quite did the work. I was courageous.
Well, thank you, Vansh, for your precious time and sharing your experiences with us. Next up, we have Chenika, who will be sharing her thoughts.
So Chainika, first of all, good evening to you.
Good evening.
So the first question that I'm gonna ask you today is, what does fear mean to you? Have you had any
Um,
experience of it recently?
okay, so I'm gonna go very scientific with this. To me, fear is any emotion that comes to life when your brain releases adrenaline and cortisol, right?
Yeah.
These two are the same hormones that are released when you're excited as well.
Mm.
So fear can feel a lot like excitement. For example, you can have jitters, you will sweat, and you will have that anxiety in a bad way, but because the hormones are the same. So what I'm trying to say here is, fear to me is basically a feeling of dread and emotion which occurs when I'm in a situation whose outcome and output is uncertain to me, when I don't know what the future holds for me and stuff like that.
Okay.
Moving on to the second part of the question,
Mhm.
could you please repeat it?
Yeah, so the second part of the question was, have you had any recent encounter with this fear, or yeah, any encounter with fear?
Okay. So, recently, I had a fight with my friend. It was not necessarily a fight, but a third person came into it and they started, what do you say, putting up sparks between us, right?
Yeah.
And I am a person who is really scared of losing people, right? And if you're
Hmm.
close to me, I will be really scared of letting you go. So when that happened, I could feel myself shaking. I could feel that anxiety coming in. I could feel being jittery that what if that this person decides to believe the other person and goes away from my life. And it was all in all a horrible experience.
Hmm.
Even though I'm still
That,
friends with that person, but that was a
that's good to
really
know.
scary moment. Thank you.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Yeah.
So, Chanika, moving on to the second question that I'm gonna ask you is, what do you think courage is? Is it the absence of fear or the triumph over it?
Hmm. Well, I am pretty sure there will be two teams, one which would support the first answer and the
Hmm.
second which would support the second option. And I definitely come in the second team. That courage is basically the triumph over your fear. So, uh, you know, it takes a lot to be courageous. You need to have that grip over yourself that, okay, I'm not going to break in this situation. Obviously, I'm scared of XYZ. But if I let that get into me and I just give up and, like just sit down, nothing's good gonna come out of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to take steps to overcome that fear. And but at the same time, if you say the absence of fear, but it cannot be taken as courage. Why? Because you know for courage to happen, you need to be scared of something. Something needs to be there which gives rise to the feeling of that boldness, that bravery into you. You
Yeah.
need to feel a certain type of uneasiness, a certain type of anxiety, just to do something perfectly, not even if not perfectly, then to do something in a good way, because courage without fear is nothing but a mundane thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very. It's very deep. Yeah. So yeah, Chenika, the third question to you is: have you had any experience in which you think you were very courageous or you sort of triumphed over your fear?
Well, this might be the whole reason I'm your friend right now, and that is me choosing PCM, which is physics,
Yeah.
chemistry, math. I was so scared of maths. Like, I cannot begin to tell you. I
And many
would get
people are.
these, yeah, I know. I would get these weird, jitters the day before my maths exam, and everything was to blame on me because I wouldn't practice the whole year, and then one day before the exam, I'd be like, oh my god, I don't know anything. I hate maths. Math hates me. I don't know anything, and I am so scared of this subject. It would be so bad that every time when I would know, I would blank out. And I remember choosing PCM was like a big step for me because I was so scared of the subject. It was like I was embracing my biggest nightmare into my life. It was like I was open armly, like welcoming, the worst thing in my life.
Hmm.
And I had to live with it for 2 more years. And if I decided to do engineering, that maybe 6 more years. You never know.
Yeah.
So it's a really big step. And I also remember we had two boards, right? Term one and term two.
Yeah.
My term one board, I wasn't scared of it a lot because I don't know why. But while my term two exam was there, I was a bit scared. I remember I used to wake up like till late till the morning, like around 3, 4 during the board, and it was the same for maths exam. And I was doing trigonometry,
Hmm.
and I was now done for the day, like for the night basically. I had exam the next day, So, but I was so anxious. I had this thing in my mind that I have to score good. I need to score good. It's
Mhm.
math. I don't have to mess this up. I need to
Mhm.
get good marks in this. I'm choosing this as a stream. I need to do my best and everything. It was a fear that I would not do good and I would end up scoring marks. Like, I'm not saying those are bad marks, like 40s and 50s,
Mhm.
but for me they were really, like, to me it wasn't something that was expected out of me, from
Yeah.
me, or from
From
anyone,
yourself.
or
Yeah.
by anyone, right?
Yeah.
Teachers, not my parents. So to me, it was a really disappointing score. More than disappointing, it was near a failure.
Mhm.
So I was really scared that day, and that was the moment I had to cry it out and tell myself that this is not the end of the world,
Yeah.
and
It certainly isn't.
one subject is not enough to determine your worth.
Yeah.
It's not something that tells you who you are, and uh, your like it doesn't tell you that who you are as a person, on what are your capabilities or how much potential do you have. And at the end of the day, I did score 90 plus in maths, so I think it's a win-win. Only if you have those guts, have that courage to face your fear, keeping in mind that even if you fail, at least you tried, and then you get up again while the chance comes to you, and then you try again and keep on trying again and again and again, because one day the fear is gonna go and you're obviously gonna win over it, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about trying and trying and never giving up, because one day the fear will be gone and you'll be just, wow, I'm not scared of this anymore. I can do it anytime you want me to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Many people, in fact, think of it as like keep trying and trying is at what use will it of be? Yeah. Right. So yeah, it certainly is. If you try your best, that is. Most of people don't. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yes.
that's very good, Chanika. So yeah, that's it. These are the questions that I asked you. Thank you very much, Chanika, for your time.
Last but definitely not the least, we have Gehna with us.
Hello, Gehna.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. So today I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Yeah, fine.
So the first question that I'm gonna ask you is that what does fear mean to you? That have you had any experience in which you were scared recently?
Okay, yeah. So basically, for me, fear has a big definition, and I cannot really express it just in few sentences, and not really, you can say, in the short interview. But I precisely say that fear is something that we make ourselves, that our brain makes itself, imagines itself, so as to stop us from reaching our full potential. So basically, fear is us stopping ourselves to reach our full potential. And of course, I do have many fears like everybody else.
Hmm.
And of course, it's like day to day thing. I need to fight my fears. I need to be courageous and move on with my day. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very subtle of an answer. So, Gehna, the next question to you is what do you think courage is? Is it the absence of fear or is it the triumph over it?
See, according to me, it's basically the triumph. A cliche, we can say, because nobody is born fearless. Yeah, there are some studies that we do have. We are born with some fears, like fear for you can say loud noises and stuff. But no, yeah, we can say that everyone has fear, and courage is something. It's something that we need to push our fear aside and do the actual action. Never, yeah. It's courage is basically triumph over the fear.
Yeah, very well spoken, Gehna. The last question that I'm going to ask you today is that have you had any experience in which you think you were very courageous or you sort of triumphed over your fear?
Yes. Like firstly, it happened so recently that not basically. I'll just give an overview. It was basically fear of abandonment.
Okay.
Like you can say societal pressure, fear of abandonment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but this, like in these holidays, in the summer vacation, I overcame that. I understood many things, and I knew that I need to overcome this fear because it was pulling me down. It was stopping me, and that's not how things should go. Therefore,
That's nice to know.
mm,
So thank you, Gehenna. Thanks a lot for your time.
thank
That's
you,
it for
thank
the
you.
interview. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
And that brings us to the end of the podcast. These have been some of the most insightful thoughts and responses. So, in the end, let us embrace the truth that courage is not merely the absence of fear, but the triumph over the fear. As we face our fears, we become architects of our own destiny. By being courageous, we unleash our full potential and take a step forward in becoming a better version of ourselves. Thank you.